You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. Happy holidays for all of you who celebrate. My name is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and this is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. I am a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation coach, and it is my pleasure every Friday to welcome my friend to the program. Hello, Aminah. Nice to see you.
Hi. Isn't it fun to pick up friends everywhere you go with what you do?
Yes, it is. It really is. It's just amazing how you feel connected to people without ever having met in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the best pen pals ever. We actually get to see each other.
I know. I love it. And you brought us another wonderful guest. You just surround yourself with the most interesting people.
I'm still abusing all my friends and professional friends and that type of stuff, and just wanting everybody to know how there's just so many amazing people that we can network with and that type of stuff. So I am all about the give back. I think that's just the place to live your life, and you're doing it every day. So you know what I'm talking about. Is you gave me that opportunity wherever we randomly ran into each other because it was supposed to be. And yes. I'm doing the same, and I hope everybody out there does that.
I agree. I want you to share a little bit about yourself. I just want to say hello to William Stade. Thank you for joining us. To Jose LaGuardia Lopez and to Muhammad Ali. And that's it so far. So thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to spotlight you and tell us your story, a little bit about you.
I was born with a gift to hear things that most people don't. Yes, I've spent my lifetime, my kids will tell you, talking to the trees and the bugs and walking the bees and everything out. Aunts and I are still having a conversation about how often they should visit, which is never, and stuff. But I just love nature. I love the world. I love trees. And I really love working with the humanity of where we can go. What I am gifted in doing is I am an empath. I am a psychic. I'm working just with animals pretty much. But yes, I have friends that constantly come up and say, so what do you think? not how's that garage sale down the corner? So my gifts are truly God-given. I have been asked if I studied. And yes, I want to say, yes, I study now because I have a boatload of psychics around me, and they specialize in different things, but I'll run into it in my world or their world, and I'll ask for their advice. And that's what we're doing here. Jacalyn, you've given us all a platform to share those things that we have or we've learned or we've studied. It's just magical to be able to share something and move somebody else's life forward in a positive way. The things I've been able to help with is end of life, either the owner or the pet. I can talk to them after they have died. I do talk to the people who have died. I don't know why that part. It never makes any sense with animals and dead people. But those are my two biggest strengths, and everything else is a grow. And I love learning. I'm a trainer. I am also worked in a vet clinic. So we're going to talk whole person. We're going to talk, are you around something that's making you sick, or is it a behavior, or do we need to get a trainer, or do you simply have the wrong pet? So we're going to talk about it all. Is it time to call the vet and talk about end of life? A client a week ago already had that euthanasia appointment for the next day. And she wanted to know if she could wait or if Kitty was too miserable. And, because nobody wants to make this decision. Why is it in our hands? And we have the technology for it, but those of us who truly love our pets all of us are torn with having to make this life and death decision. So Kitty had said she'd like to hang around a little longer. Very big tumor on her face, but has had it for a long time. It's not the problem. She's dying of old age mostly besides the tumor. And she was comfortable. Mom had made her comfortable. So willing to wait a few more days.
Well, Thank you for sharing that with us. That's good news. A few more days here.
Yeah.
We want to say hello to David Biganati, and I love this guy's name, King OV, King of P-E-E.
There
Welcome
you
to
go.
the program. Yeah.
We got to ask what that is.
Yeah, we want to hear from you in the comments. Tell us about our guest today, Dorothy.
Dorothy is my fabulous, famous, wonderful realtor. We have gone back and forth, poor realtors. I actually was a realtor for years before I had children. And my last one, I was 9 months pregnant on the close of escrow. And I get to the escrow department to sign the papers. And one of the agents said, and of course, a man, please don't have that baby here. I was like, that's not the plan, but you're pretty big by then. So when we were looking, we needed a really great realtor who would explain things, because I was teaching my daughter how to buy her first house, and Dorothy stepped in. And she's just been wonderful. She's educational. She's funny. She gets our sarcasm. And she and I actually had, I'm going to call it a poltergeist event, because for my side, it was like being accosted by a poltergeist. Not that I know what that means, but it sounds great as Hollywood. And we're going to talk about that, I hope, if she's okay with that, because she helped me through getting accosted at a house we went to.
Let's bring her on. Welcome, Dorothy. It's nice to see you. Hi.
Thank you very much. It's great to see you, Aminah.
You too.
Thank you.
Everything's by phone now, so look, we're live.
Now we can see each other. That is at least a positive.
Yes.
I miss the energetic connection, though, and that's an important thing. We can get some here, but nothing like we get it live.
Yeah,
that's true. I just want to say before I forget, because sometimes I do, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a device that resembles a phone, you can call us. We would love to hear from you. Our number is 609-961-1699. If you are watching on social media, please put something in the comments. We'd like to hear from you. And also hello to Kultum Menya. Okay, so Aminah, why don't you start to share that story, and let's see where it goes. About
we're gonna make you wait. We're gonna make you wait. Dorothy and I are gonna. We've got I got a clock. It's not just on the computer, but no, Dorothy. What I really would like to start off with is what I really want to ask you is what makes you special. But that's kind of really, really large. What really resonated with us is you really took the time to explain to my daughter, who is, really looking to buy her first house. And yes, I did real estate, but it was a long time ago. And you gave me that support of just explaining, what is this? What is this? Give us 101 of like the 5 top things you have to know to begin looking for your first house, because I think that's the most complicated thing, is the language, is the vocabulary, which you and I are very, very familiar with. And I'm sure Dr. Jacalyn is very familiar with. But at some point, the word escrow might seem daunting.
So when you're getting ready to search for that first house, the most important thing is to know what your budget is. And that sounds really basic, but people start looking, they look on public websites, the MLS, still they're inundated with all these possibilities. They find these beautiful houses and they want that house. And if they are looking at a house that's not in a budget that they can reach, they go into mourning for about 3 months. And when they come to me, if they're in that mourning period, it's a very difficult time for me to even take them out to show them what they actually qualify. Because if you're looking, now I'm sorry if I blow some of the nation away with our prices here in the Bay Area, but if you're looking for, and you have a budget for $800,000, and you're looking at $1 million houses, you're going to be really disappointed, and it's really hard to get a gift of $200,000 from your neighbor or your mother, or not everybody has that in savings. So it's really, really, the number one important is to know what your budget is. And then when you connect with an agent, make sure your agent is smart enough to look a little less than that. Because in order to compete in today's market, you got to be able to go up. So again, if I use that $800,000, I'm going to look at 725 and start there, because we have over asking offers all the time that we're competing with. And I'm not doing my buyers any service if I show them something they cannot reach.
And that's so true. And knowing what you love. What I did with my kids when they were younger, not Rahime so much, not my older one, it wasn't her interest, but my younger one. And we would go to all the open houses. So I would so love to see parents just, go to open houses when they're young. And I mean, we started when she was 12 and did it all the way till she was 18. And we would walk through the house and say, oh, I'd move that bathroom, or I don't like that carpet, or I don't, because do you know the education of getting her to see things in a totally new light? For me, we were looking at houses last year, and that one tub in Gilroy that was like an oasis. Jacalyn, do you remember the taco boats where the cardboard was in like a taco or a burrito or a hot dog? The bathtub. It was white without the little bendy parts of the board. And for me, with the injury to my hands, I'm looking at, man, even if I get in, who's getting me out?
How are you getting out of there? Yeah. Listen, I have to share with you that I've had a real estate license in the state of Pennsylvania since I think 2016, and I had to do my continuing education last year, and I thought I had like whatever the date was, I was off by one day. So I missed it by one day. So I could still go back 5 years. But it's a hard job, and it's not the path that I'm on now. So I give a lot of respect to realtors. That is hard work, very hard work. I want to say hello to Diane Boehm. Nice to see you, Diane. And also Christine Lewis Anderson, watching in Dr. Jacalyn LLC Health and Wellness.
Wonderful. Yeah. How do you go with not working or working so hard for free? Because everybody's thinking, oh, you're going to make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. By the time I paid for my license, I studied the books, and then I had to go to all those stupid prep classes to keep my license. One day I went to one of those stupid seminars that took 3 hours, and we were going over contract law. And I tried not to want to shoot myself the entire class because the guy was monotone. We're going over contract law, and everybody's going to die because the manager was put us to sleep.
Like this.
Exactly. And I was like, somebody's going to die, but I think it's going to be me first.
Wait. Let's also talk about this, because we all know this as realtors. How many times do you get a client who wants you to go show them 15, 20, 30 homes, and then they go work with somebody else? Yeah. They just disappear. You wine them, you dine them all the time.
Every day.
It does happen. It does happen.
And that's why I really want you guys to meet Dorothy, because she's my example of, we have stayed with her. Now, have we still bought anything? No, because we can't find what we're looking for. But we started looking in other areas she doesn't necessarily need to drive to. So she set us up with somebody else. So we did that, Jacalyn. We got like 10 or 15 houses. And he said, okay, I got all these, but I don't know if we'll get to them. And I said, you haven't met us. Because now Rahime's all up on it. I'm up on it. We were in and out of those houses in under 6 minutes flat. Booties on, masks on, in, out. Because you know why? Because Dorothy prepped us. Dorothy taught my daughter what are we looking for? I want a bathroom here, I want a wall here, and I want to share a wall here, and I don't want the neighbors who look in the backyard. So we gave the realtor all of these categories and said, this is what we have to have, this is what we'd like to have, and this is absolutely not acceptable.
Not taking that.
Safety is a paramount for us. So if the neighborhood is not a good neighborhood, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's
so Aminah, that you asked me for 5 things. The second thing I wanted to mention goes right along with what you just said, and that is, you need an agent who listens. I need to listen to what you want, because by listening to you, I earn the right for you to listen to me. And then when the time comes, I can move you to what you want, and you trust me by that point. But if I don't spend any time listening, and if I haven't paid attention to what is good and bad in your experience, you know what? I'm not doing my job, and you will go find somebody else.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's all those realtors that are selling their friend or somebody who's they're going to make millions on. And they keep showing you these houses that first out of your price range. But second, nothing like you like. And you're thinking there's an ulterior motive here, isn't it? And we're all going to figure it out either after escrow or before. And those bad feelings, I'm sorry, you and I, Dorothy, know, and Dr. Jacalyn, you build a whole show on the good energy that we all want. Why the kind of guests I'm inviting is because I believe in them, because they have been good people who have done good things for me. And I want to return that because I believe that's what we put out in the world.
I agree with you. Very well said. We need to take a break and hear from some of our sponsors, but I'd like to say hello to Shelly Smith Friedrich, to John Peters, and let's see, Kevin Williams. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Now we're going to hear from one of our sponsors, Diane Floyd Bame. Take it away, Diane.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Bame. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Bame tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at DianeFloydBame.com. Visit DianeFloydBoehm.com. That's DianeFloydBame.com.
The world is changing, and your company needs to change with it. Whether it's procurement, employment, marketing, or customer service, it's now more important than ever for your business processes to be inclusive to people with disabilities. Hi, I'm Trish Robichaud with Changing Paces, and I'm here to tell you that making your business processes accessible to people with disabilities is simply good for business. Accessibility and inclusion are the law. But here's what you may not realize. Disability inclusion is an opportunity, not an obstacle. In fact, a recent 4-year study found that companies that fully embraced disability inclusion had a 30% higher profit margin than those that didn't. Your investment in staff disability inclusiveness training can pay off in areas like innovation, brand recognition, as well as customer and employee satisfaction and loyalty, not to mention productivity and profitability. At Changing Paces, we can help you make that happen for your business. Our experts have real-life experience that will help your team gain insight and best practices they won't get anywhere else. And we can help you create a customized training program to bring your organization into compliance with local and industry regulations. This topic is very close to my heart for me, very personal. Dealing with the challenges of MS for the past 25 plus years and having lost my job as a result of my diagnosis back then, I've made it my mission to bring disability out of the darkness and create a more welcoming environment for people of all abilities. As a pioneer in the field of inclusiveness, our company developed and implemented one of the first accessible customer service training programs in Canada. We provide complete online training solutions that blend with your branding, your policies, and your systems. Between our disability subject matter experts and our technical partners, we can provide you with both the content and the platform that you need to create an evergreen training program that empowers your people while it transforms your organization and your company culture. In short, We make disability inclusion easy in all parts of your business. Contact us now for a quote or consultation at info@changingpaces.com. Your bottom line will thank you.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello and welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents pet psychic Aminah and her friend and guest Dorothy. Dorothy, tell us about the real estate company that you're aligned with.
So I work with Exit Realty, and I spent 13 years with Century 21, loved it, never would have left, but life happened. Actually, it was a death that happened. My broker passed away. And Exit Realty, the name I didn't care for it to begin with, but I love it now because every one of my competitors has my name over their door. It says Exit.
Yay!
I love
You
that.
gotta say that one again. Every competitor has
my name over their door.
That's awesome.
And then
Sorry.
Exit Realty actually has a retirement plan for agents. So who else has that?
Wow.
No one.
It's not a multi-level thing, but there is a single level sponsorship. So if I invite somebody to come in and work with me that I want to work with, or somebody that I've trained or mentored, I'll tell you about my real estate school in a few minutes, but I'm sure that'll come up. But if I sponsor someone, I get 10% of their commissions from corporate. It's not from my broker, and it's not coming out of the agent's pocket. I get 10% of everything they make for as long as both of us work at Exit. If I retire from Exit, I get 7% of what everybody did. And if I pass away, my family gets 5% for as long as the people I've sponsored work with Exit. So that's just one little thing about it. I could tell you lots, but that's one wonderful thing about it.
They sound like really good reasons. Yeah, I love that.
Really good.
Love that.
It feels like they brought the humanity back to business.
And
Can you imagine? What?
It doesn't matter how competitive this market, this whole business is. In my office, we're comrades. We're comrades, and there are times we're going to end up, with that same listing appointment. But we have a camaraderie. It's a very, very gentle and good place.
Well, and we all know that, Jacalyn. That's why I think you and I hit it off, because we gave to each other. You invited me on your show, and it was supposed to be 15 minutes. and once we've been doing this down for like 6 weeks, and they're always an hour, because we find that commonality and support. And that's, again, why you're here, Dorothy, because you have, and just people should know, we have not closed on one house yet that she's shown us because we haven't found the right one, first of all. And then life got in the way in many ways and that kind of stuff. But we know the right ones out there, and we know the right realtor to call. So that's the biggest problem we have is it'll happen. It'll happen. It's just not now.
Right, because buying a home is a huge decision.
Yes.
It's huge. And I love what you asked me at the beginning. I'm going to go back because I want to finish the 5 things. I'm almost there.
Please,
So you said, what are the 5 important things in finding a home? And I said the first was the budget. The second is that you have an agent that listens to you, because if they listen to you, you're not going to walk away because you feel listened to. And then by doing that, we earn a trust, which I think is the third important thing. You have to have trust with your agent. You also have to have trust with your loan agent, because we're not the same person. You have a different person that's dealing with your finances. And the third thing, I believe, is I call it training. I have to train my buyers. I tell them this is buying 101. Now you're ready for class buying 102. Now we're going to actually write an offer. Now this is a whole different learning experience. The learning experience about how to find the right place is different than now we're going to write an offer. And it has to be in sequence. If I'm doing that out of sequence, you already experienced that, Aminah. You already experienced an agent that I referred you to that took you out of sequence and derailed your whole relationship by doing it out of sequence. So that's important. The last thing, if I may go forward, is someone asked about escrow, and that I think is number 5. That's part of our training, but escrow is like the most important thing, because the word escrow is what's at the end of this deal, and it means keys at some point. But what in the world
to the front door?
I mean,
not
your
the baby
own
key,
key to that
baby department.
Yeah.
So my way to explain escrow, I go pretty basic. Even a child can understand this. So if there are 2 neighborhood kids that both have marble collections and they want to trade, and they don't really like each other and they don't really trust each other, guess what they do? They go find an adult, and they both give their marbles to the adult, and the adult takes them and gives them at the same time. So escrow pays the bills. It pays off the mortgage for the seller. It collects the funds from the lender for the buyer. It pays the agents. It pays the property taxes, whatever else needs to be done. And that's really a basic definition of escrow. It is a neutral third party. So we need them because we are on opposing sides. As agents, we're in an oppositional relationship. Buyers and sellers, they're negotiating. That's why they have agents, to take the emotion out of and make this a business deal. We're selling a home, or we're helping them buy a home. There's emotion all over the place. And so we're there to facilitate that. And as my wise old broker who passed, I quote him all the time: if there's a willing buyer and a willing seller, and the deal falls apart, it's because of the ego of one of the agents or both of them. So we need to keep our ego out of it. We have a fiduciary to our clients, and we need to serve.
Right. And if you don't know what fiduciary means, look it up.
I put my needs after yours. Your needs are first. It is not my paycheck that goes in front of your needs.
Well, and I would even put it in stronger words. I think you're being very, very gentle to realtors at this point, and it's a place you should be. But I want to encourage people, being a past realtor, and I think Dr. Jacalyn, you would agree, it is really our legal requirement of how we should legally deal with you: fair, above board, and neutral. Because yes, this is how we make our living, but we all know buying a house is emotional. If you're going to buy a wedding dress, you better be really nice. If you're a terrible person, it doesn't matter what you're buying. And a house is even bigger than that. I know when we bought one of our houses in San Luis Obispo, I was a realtor. I was terrible at it. No, I had to counsel myself and the whole thing. So that's really gets complicated. But we were buying a home, and they found asbestos. And they shut all the loans down. We were 4 days from closing, and they did the last inspection and found it. But I read the contracts. I read the class. It was non-friable. It was stable. It was sealed. And it's like, dude. So if you don't have a realtor who knows the difference between friable asbestos and non-friable, and look it up if you don't, because we're not going to go into that. But you're talking about closing escrow or not, buying your home or not, without a realtor, without good looking because the escrow company just gets the information. So it's going back to the inspector. What are you going to beat the inspector up and say, no, that's not how it is? No, he found friable. But the law comes in place of what they will loan on. And that's where you become invaluable. There's not enough money in the world to take care of that headache.
Trusted advisor.
Trusted advisor.
Thank you. That's my term. That's it. Trusted
Yes.
advisor.
Yes. Yeah. And if you haven't found it, keep looking. There's millions of realtors and there's one that's good for you. And if you're lucky, there you can refer you people that will be great for you. Loan officers, inspectors, a person to put the plumbing in or remodel. They know everybody who's worth knowing. So
Me too.
Yeah.
it is true. They know the best contractors that actually get the work done and don't leave holes or gouge you later or, oh, I quit. What do you mean
just
you quit?
Here. That happens all the time.
Just on the lawn. I don't think that's legal to have a bath on the lawn.
I don't think so either. But, it's interesting. We talk about the number of realtors. So you were a real estate agent. I was a real estate agent. We both left, right? It's interesting because a lot of people go into the business as a second career or, the next version of themselves, only to find out how difficult it is. I remember one of the things I thought, it's going to sound crazy, but I thought it was so hard, was carrying the big metal signs, the open house sign, putting them up. It's like there's a snowstorm outside, it's raining. Then you go into the open house and the owners don't have the heat on, or it's on like 50 or something, and you've got your heels on and the floor. It's just, oh my gosh, you're sitting there alone in the cold, waiting for people to come in. That is a hard job.
It is.
It is. This is a true story, and I'll just tell the high level part of it. But back in 2008 and 2009, I was holding open houses. We had bank owned houses everywhere, and I was trying to get some people to talk to. So I would hold middle of the week open houses. Why not? But I literally carried a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot, and before I went into an empty foreclosed house that I knew didn't have water running and didn't have power, I would go to the neighbor's hose and fill that up. So because somebody used that toilet.
Yeah.
And I would carry that. Was just part of my standard thing. And it was crazy. I have crazy stories like that. 107 degrees putting out signs it's a pain. There's a great job. There's a great business for somebody out there.
Follow the realtors around, carry their crap.
One of you people, one of you young entrepreneurs, do a sign business. Okay, connect with us, and then go put all our signs up and take them all down and clean them off for us and count them because we would lose count of them.
That would be a great business.
Yeah, and we're talking specifically, and you correct me, please, Dorothy, if I'm wrong, but we're talking specifically the open house signs and the closed house signs, because the sign that says for sale, there's a whole business that does that. They have trucks that come up, they put them in the ground, they take them out of the ground. They, sometimes a welcome falls off and you could do that. What we're talking about is the day-to-day, I'm going to be open, now I'm going to be closed, and you've got your folders and your files and you've got all your flowers and Kleenex and air freshener.
And have somebody that actually knows what the law is in that particular town. In that town, they only allow little riders with arrows. They don't let you put the big open house sign. And you can only put one on the northwest corner on the house, and only if it's a street that, is 25. I'm not kidding. This is California.
And you see why we both don't do this anymore?
Let me just tell you what the last thing was for me. So this one house, I was sitting at open house 3 weeks in a row, and finally I got a lease. But it was in Philadelphia, in this quaint little neighborhood with tiny streets. Like you don't even think your car is going to fit down the street. And then you have to make a sharp turn and then another turn to get into the driveway, which, by the way, the car just fits in the garage, but you're not even sure that it's going to fit. And there's no on-street parking. So the third week I thought, I'm a nervous wreck. I literally have pains in my chest thinking about going down these streets and getting into this garage. Oh, what about backing out, by the way? That's a whole other story. That was the end. That was the end for me. So I have so much respect for realtors and what a difficult job it is.
There are people who do this for a hobby, but as someone who does it and who's in the business every single day, I can tell when I'm dealing with a hobbyist or if I'm dealing with a professional, and I'll deal with either one. They're bringing another client. They've brought a listing, or they're bringing a buyer to my listing. So I'll work with them, but it really does help if they're kind of honest. This is my first deal this year. Okay, cool. Let me help you. Let me help you with that. And that's how you have to serve.
And
Sounds like leave the ego at home, right?
Leave your ego at home. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better.
I just want to say hello
on that, because you know how many people don't know what you're talking about, right? An ego? Me? What?
You can't learn if your ego's in the way either. You can't negotiate and you can't learn.
And that's part of being a fiduciary or a trusted advisor, right?
Yes.
So take all the emotion out of it, leave the egos out of it. And so I want to say hello to Salah Edine Wahi, John Peters, and Keith Bomblitus. Also, Mamour Case. I mean, we love having you. If you want to put any comments in the social media posting, we'd love that. Okay,
Absolutely.
Back to you, Aminah.
I'm just making sure we didn't miss a commercial and stuff like that, since we're way
over. Thank you. Yes, we're going to go to commercial break. Thank you, partner. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margie Cedrone, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacalyn over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie Cedrone Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
We've got an action-packed show here on Good Friday. Welcome back, everyone. I'm with my co-host, pet psychic Aminah, and our guest, Dorothy Coulter, realtor at Exit, EXIT. How will you remember it? It's over every door. Right?
Yay! We got our jingle and everything. So we're going to talk about a really fun house. This was when we were my daughter and I were first working with Dorothy and that type of stuff. So it was great. I kind of took a back seat at that time and just let her explain everything to her. Because, you know, when you try and tell your kid, this is what it is, this is what it is, and they're like, yeah, I don't believe you. And this wasn't my child that went around to all the open houses with me. That my youngest and I did that in her high school years. We loved it. Oh, we'd move that door over there and we'd go over there and we remodeled the whole house by the time we walked out. And the neat thing is she's so much better prepared than the older one because it wasn't her interest, because she got that experience. So again, go to open houses. All they're doing is standing around. They're dying to show you the house.
You'll see the lonely realtor freeze, waiting. Please come in.
Move their signs. Take them to the car. You know, come on, guys. You're mowing the lawn. But you'll learn so much.
Eat our cookies. We made these cookies for you.
Instead, we're eating them all.
Exactly. You'll get paid to walk in and walk out, but you'll learn so much about, no, I don't like that, or I do like that. And, you know, you'll get to live in different places. So by the time you can buy a house, you'll be so much more educated. And the realtors are so kind and so thoughtful. And sometimes they've been alone for hours, so they're dying to talk to anybody anyway. And it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to do it. So Dorothy and my daughter and I are walking into a pretty narrow walkway. It had the overhang. So we were going up the steps, and they were kind of like a marble. And so it was very slippery. So we're going slow. Didn't rain or anything, but you're going slow going, this doesn't look good. And when you got, remember in the entryway, it was all like that marble finish. And then it had a drop of 4 or 5 inches, which can't be legal.
Well, we call it, back in those days when they were building it, we called it the fall-in living room, because that's what everybody does.
Because you literally, because the problem was the colors were so similar from floors, so you didn't necessarily see it the first time. So you literally fell into the living room. And then if you were tall enough, you hit the couch. And because it was a very small living room. Anyway, so we're walking in the entryway, and I go in the door, and I'm feeling horribly sick. And I'm like, how is that possible? I was fine 5 steps ago, and now I feel like I've been accosted. And all of a sudden, this couple is screaming, and I'm in the middle. And they're having this horrible fight. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what they're yelling about. Okay, guys, remember, psychic. Talk to dead people all the time. And I'm checking with them. I was like, dude, you guys aren't even here. Why are you yelling with me in the middle? And I'm checking with them. I was like, they're not dead. So I'm like, okay, you're not dead. Why am I listening to live people then? That's just not fair. Dogs, live people, not dead. I don't mind the dead people. They don't bother me because I've heard of them my whole life. So they don't have any scare. So finally I get so ill to my stomach. I turn around and leave. And Rama's like, wait a minute. You don't like the house? Nope, don't like the house. I already knew when I fell into the living room, I was like, yeah, I'm done. And I'm getting yelled at. So I walked out, and then Dorothy's going to pick it up from here because I explained, no, I hate the house. I had to go all the way to the curb to get away from this couple. And I'm like, I have never experienced that in my life. First of all, they're not dead. So who are these people yelling? And so she goes in and explains that she had this experience. And now you get to explain, if you feel like it, I hope you do, of your experience so she could help me through this.
Well, I want to mention, too, that this wasn't the first house I'd ever showed these folks. And you guys can see Aminah. You guys have heard her for 6 weeks. She's a nice lady. She is not, she's bubbly, but she doesn't have big negative, no, stay away. You know, and I watched her have this reaction. And so I kind of took a reading. Now, I'll back up just my own experience. Ever since I've been showing houses, you can tell if you can feel a happy house. You can feel an angry house. You can feel a sad house. I learned from somebody smarter than me that you can feel a house where there was scarcity. I learned what that feeling feels like. And what that feels like to me, the way I experience it, is I feel like I've got to go look in the cupboards and look underneath shelves and open drawers because there's money hidden somewhere in here. And I get that feeling like I got to look for, there's money. It happened to me in San Francisco, walking in San Francisco. All of a sudden I'm like, the wind's blowing. There's $100 bills blowing around me. I know it. And I turned a corner and there was a homeless man sitting there. I didn't see him first. It wasn't like a trigger, but I felt the scarcity. Anyway, so I realized that I was having this experience. And so I went back to I couldn't get her in the house. This house checked all their boxes. I couldn't, and her daughter's in there. Oh, this is great. Oh my gosh, this is my room. This is you and dad's room. And this, she had it. She had the furniture, but we couldn't get mom back in the house. And so I stood in the hallway and I felt it. And I experienced it different. I've actually had people who experience it as a smell, a really distasteful smell. So there's different ways people experience energy. And I believe, I'm not a pro at this, okay, but energy, when there's a lot of emotion, there's no reason to believe that it doesn't saturate what's around.
The world where you're at.
That's why these people were still alive. It had been a rental house. It turns out, I don't know if Aminah knows this, but I actually ended up knowing the owner. I knew her quite well. She's somebody that I played bunker with for 20 years. I didn't know that was her house. I was just showing you what you wanted, and I didn't. She had another realtor, obviously, Yeah. Anyway, and it was a rental house. It was not my friend's house, but the way she experienced it, she goes, "I hate that house. I don't like that house." And her face changed. Everything changed about it. And I go, "Huh, okay. There's something going on with this house." And again, something else you may not know is I have somebody who can read that kind of energy as well. And I had him look at pictures of that entryway, and he confirmed exactly what you were saying, that there had been a lot of family discourse. There had been a lot of problems.
Well, and they just got to stop yelling in one space, because when you're sensitive, and because I'm focused on my kids learning, and we're going to go look at this house, and I've done a million, so it's like big deal. So I walk in laissez-faire, and then literally it's like somebody took a couple and put them on either side of you and started yelling. And I'm like, why are you yelling? Because I've dealt with a scary dead person, and then but my energy changes because I understand what I'm looking at. And I just have to calm down. But this was being accosted. I felt like they might as well have decked me. I'm not a fist fighter. I don't do that. But it was a verbal assault on my entire being. And so my energy changed. As she said, this was nothing. You and I'd spoken for a year or two. So off and on. So she'd seen me quiet, sad, happy, mad. And I'm a joker. I like to joke. But I was just ill and angry, because I was taking on their anger. And one thing they tell you is I've got to put up safeguards. Well, who told me I was going to do that in an empty house?
You know what they were so angry about? Because they
had an argument about the house and about their life, and it was a marriage squabble.
No. I'm saying I know what it was about. It was about the marble steps and that dropping. One of them made the decision to go with marble, and the other one's like, "I told you it's a stupid decision, right?
Thank you.
Dangerous."
Exactly.
Imagine if you want to wear a pair of high heels. That's a death trap.
Well, and everybody who came in, because the open house was really, really busy. Because remember, I exited the building, and people were coming and going, and it had just opened or something. And it was really hot real estate market at the time. So we had lots of people at every open house. And so I'm just running the other way, and everybody's going, "Oh, she's having a bad day." And they didn't care, because they just went in. So it was... and I have to ground myself, and then I have to put in all my strength in saying, you don't have the right to what is the word? Accost me. I have limits. You don't have the right. And once I got that, and then I got Dorothy's support, and Dorothy, it really was that. It was great. You were knowledgeable, because that really brings a lot of support. It says, I've heard, on the television from Dr. Phil, blah, blah. And that had been great too, I guess. But
I've experienced it too many times. Yeah.
You also had experience with a psychic in your own home and reading with your pets. So you had the full package of saying, I think I know what this is. And then I checked in with the people, and guess what? They faded away. And I said, you know what, take your argument somewhere else. Now, a lot of psychics will go in there and help them through that and get it passed and clear it. I just, sorry. I left that house and went, take care of yourself.
I do know of people who have hired psychics to come with them to houses that they're interested in buying.
Yes. And this is why, because we're going to see something. And that's why I let my daughter walk through the house and see and feel what she's going to feel. And imagine herself in that bedroom. Imagine herself in that kitchen, picking up a sandwich.
I want to jump in here. Her daughter did not have any of that experience. She did not feel that at all. She was excited about the house because it checked the boxes, and she's logical and she's a wonderful girl, but she's not an empath, and she didn't feel that. She didn't experience that. So it was interesting. It was really, really interesting. It was not my first time experiencing something like that, but it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, and thank God, because you were able to help me through it. And what people think is, oh, you're born with this. And it's like, yeah, but people say, well, what's it like to be psychic? And I said, I don't know. Ask me what it's like to be a white girl with blonde hair. I was born. I don't know. I haven't been anything else. So to go in and be accosted, I am learning those boundaries. And that's why I surround myself with people who really are skilled. And that's, how did we organically find Dorothy? My daughter got up on a website, said, hey, we're looking for a house. Oh, I'm busy. And they said, I know somebody's perfect for you. And this is how we got it. Dorothy was available and it was perfect. We preferred a female agent. We weren't going to be too picky about it, but it's a lot more comfortable for us, just on a religious base of being in a car alone with her and all that. We could talk about the girl things about, that's the stupidest bathroom ever. Have you seen that tub? Have you seen the cabinet? Things that matter to us. She's going to already have seen it, know it. She's going to tell us before maybe we experience it and say, now I know the toilet's not maybe in the best place, whatever. And that would be valuable to us.
You mentioned something really important, Aminah. You said you went out and you got grounded. And that's something I've learned to do. I'm a martial artist. I will punch if needed. I'm a black belt. I mean, that's kind of my mentality. I don't care.
I'll tell you, it goes right through the ghosts.
Exactly. But to ground, when you're having an experience like that, just to, just take a minute, take some energy, stand out in the yard, whatever that means for you. Someone explained what grounding was, is to pretend you're a toddler that doesn't want to be picked up. Do you know how heavy they get? Yeah. Everything changes. Their center of gravity, they don't want to get picked up.
Yeah.
So
and if it's a dog or whatever, you get the bigger dogs that are just terrified, or whatever reason they don't want to be picked up, or a cat that's been dropped a few times. Oh yeah, good luck. That one has nails and they'll use it. But grounding is different for everybody. But the essential part is what you said, is find your center. Find your center, whatever that piece is. Play John Denver in your head. Whatever grounds you. For me, music really does it. That's why going out, because outside nature is part of my language. And I'm talking to trees. Of course, I want to go out and stand by the tree. And then I feel grounded. Listen to the trees. They got their roots and they're grounded. So that's their nature. So that is, I had to get out of that house. I had to get out. And then I had to put up all my safeguards and say, you don't have a right to accost me. I don't care that I walk through the middle of your argument. You shouldn't be here. Now, I'm not there to pass them on and get them to go to wherever. I did invite them and say, you don't have to be here yelling at the house. And the problem is they weren't dead. They had such a bad and intense argument that it has stayed in that space, in that energy. And why people get people who clear. They clear homes, they clear boats, they clear spirit. I mean, that's why there's so many of us that do so many things, because the need is so wide and great and individual. Same as home buying. If Dorothy hadn't had that experience, which she might have wondered at the time, like 20 years ago, she wouldn't have been able to bring me back within 5 minutes. She explained, I heard it and went, okay, I got this. Because I was confused. Because again, the only other time I've been accosted was by somebody who had died. And it's happened a couple of times, but I now know, I know how to deal with that. I was like, no, you're dead, go away. But these people weren't. So that was where I completely lost it and went, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. And it gets really, really frustrating But yeah, one of my daughter's friends' mother died, and my daughter came home, said she died, and then the woman was in my kitchen for 2 days telling me that I had to take care of her daughter. So that wasn't going over well because we weren't friends anymore. We had separated 10 years before with a very, very bad argument and that kind of stuff. But this was why, because she thought that I was like doing things. I need to do things for her all the time. Oh, you should do this. You do this. So it wasn't a duality. So I finally called Dottie, which Jacalyn has met. And we're going to have her back. Dottie booked next month. We're going to do it once a month. So Dottie speaks with mostly people who have died and that kind of stuff. She can't go to museums and let people go because the docents tell her that that's part of the feature of the museum is all the dead people there. So Dottie was helping them cross. And she's like, would you please stop doing that? You're ruining the event. But so, you call a higher power and say, Dottie, how do I get this woman out of my kitchen? Because I'm not doing nothing for her. And she said, this is where you put the boundaries. And that's what I learned at that house, putting those safety boundaries. And let me translate to somebody who's not psychic or not a realtor with spooky homes or fallen off tile. You have the right to set perimeters with all your friends and your enemies and your business associates and say, no, that's where I won't go. And I don't need to explain because we all have a comfort zone, but we all have the right to our own body, our own mind, and our own safety, whatever you want to call it. So let me just pull this out of the psychic world and embolden anybody who's listening or listening to this later. All of us would tell you, you have the right to your freedom of choice as long as it's not impinging on somebody else's, but you also have the right to your safety. And that's what I learned that day. And thank you, Dorothy, for being my champion, because I really needed that reality check of, slap me in the face and say, whoa, wait a minute, slap them. And that's what it felt like, that you really gave me that power of correction and saying, wait a minute, no, you don't get to do this. And then I was fine. I walked around the house and fine. Still hated the house, but.
She did go all the way through the house after that.
I did.
With go all the way through the house.
Once I got grounded, took my deep breath in nature, which is where my ground really happens, and then walked back in and said, no. They moved off. I got into the house. I knew about the step by then, saw a few people slide into the house, stepped down, and then went, yeah, no. Well, and I went out to the street, and they had a school bus come by. And I said, guys, this is a one-lane street with cars parked on the side and a school bus every 5 days a week. I don't think this is a traffic zone for us. So there were other in things. And that's what you have to pay attention to. What's it like? What do the neighbors look like? Are the houses landscaped? Or do they have garbage all over them? This is what you're buying.
Also, what about where the sun comes in? Where it's light, where it's dark.
Absolutely. Are you a gardener? Or do you want to put in a whole thing of patio? Well, then buy 900 palm trees. Go ahead. But they're going to get 7,000 feet tall. They're not going to shade anything.
You touched on something else about real estate, Aminah.
Okay.
Location. You can change your environment within your house, but you cannot change the location. And it's trite, I know, but location.
Yes,
absolutely. So it's hard to believe that we are at the top of the hour. This time has just flown by.
Yay.
Not a surprise, right? So, Dorothy, would you please give your contact information? Remember, people are listening on the radio also. They can't read your banner. So you've got your website here. And you've got
my website, yes. So I am dorothy.coulter@gmail.com. I answer my email. My website is www.dorothycoulter.com. That's COULTER. And I would love to hear from you. If you're a real estate agent, send me referrals. I will return the favor.
I love it.
And your information is also on my site, Bridging Worlds, on Facebook. It's on LinkedIn with Jacalyn and myself. We both posted you with ours on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of ways you can reach out to any of us, and we will get you Dorothy's information if you didn't. But Dorothy, one more time, it's DOROTHY COULTER, Coulter, at Gmail, right?
Correct.
So
fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, Dorothy. Hope
It
you
was
have
a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
nice meeting you. Let's connect on LinkedIn, okay?
Okay, we can do that.
That'd be great. All right. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you again.
You too. Stop working so hard, Dr. Jacalyn.
Aminah, how can people get in touch with you?
bridgingworlds.us. Everything you want to know about me, my Facebook links, my how did I get this way, my story, where I'm going to be next, if I'm holding any classes, everything is there. It's a one-stop stop. And again, it's bridgingworlds.us.
All right. Thank you so much for being here and for bringing such a great guest. It's very interesting. So remember, when it comes to real estate, you want someone you can trust because you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person and you're making one of the biggest decisions of your life. So
Yep.
Reach out to Dorothy Coulter at Exit Realty. All right. Thank you again for being here, Aminah. I'll see you again soon.
Take care. See you next week.
See you next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We've got 2 programs coming up at 5 o'clock, Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And we have a 12-year-old CEO from Philadelphia who's coming back from Dolce Desserts, and she's going to let us know how she's been doing since we first interviewed her. Our second show is The Variety Show with co-host Lori Mendelson, and we have Taryn Sartler, who's going to be our guest. Also, we'd love to have you on A Better You. What is A Better You? It's a platform where we share lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. So we have this show Wednesday at 4 Eastern Time, Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will have 2 presenters each time who have 15 minutes to present a lesson to help make us better, personally or professionally. Then we take those lessons and we ask the content creator to put together a 5-question quiz, and we will put them up on A Better You University, which is a platform that you can purchase the lessons. So maybe you are a content creator and you want to get your name out there. You want to shout your brand. You want to grow your network. Come on to A Better You. You can go to our website, abetteryou.tv. And it's $250 to present 3 lessons. And you might think to yourself, well, why would I want to pay to present? Because you're getting access to our 11 platforms. And you get Dr. Jacalyn, who is shouting your name and encouraging people to work with you. So please go to abetteryou.tv and book your session to be a presenter. And that's all for today. Whatever it is you're celebrating, I hope you're doing it safely and you're enjoying yourself. And remember to be kind to other people. It's truly a gift to be able to give back. And I thank everyone in my life who's been so good to me and who's enabled me to have this amazing platform for people to come and share. Thank you so much. We'll see you again, hopefully at 5 p.m. Eastern Time today. Bye.
I tried to ignore it, but my stomach issues were out of control. I couldn't fix them on my own. It was time to do something. A friend said the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation could help me find a specialist. Feels good to finally have a plan. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jacalyn. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. And here to tell us more is the creator of A Better You, Al Cini. Al, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. It's always a pleasure working with you and everyone out there. You know, you might be a coach working with individuals professionally or personally, or you might be a consultant working with businesses, or you might be a trusted advisor specializing in an area like finance, let's say, or the law or healthcare. Whatever of those roles you relate to, you all have one thing in common, and that is you're working every day to help people become better versions of themselves, a better you. And Dr. Jacalyn's A Better You program is an opportunity for you to express your expertise in a particular area for 15 minutes in front of an audience of people who are looking for help from people like you.
Yep.
So, Dr. Jacalyn, maybe you can tell everybody how they can learn more about this.
It's so easy. You go to abetteryou.tv and you sign up to book your session.